This Bulls team, man, I said it in the start of my video and last night's post-game video that I love this team, and of course, at the same time, this team just knows how to take years off of my life. I mean, look, I knew that with both Lavine and Javonte Green being out for this game, that it being a back-to-back, that it wasn't going to be the prettiest game for the Bulls, but I still figured they were going to win this one pretty handily, going against the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that is 17-39, and without their star player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, the fact that this game really came down to the final seconds or so was pretty nerve-wracking for a game, that needs to be a win on your schedule. But hey, I can't be mad. A win is a win. It might not have been pretty for parts of it, but the Bulls were able to close it out and get their third straight win, and doing so while being incredibly shorthanded. And with the Cavs losing tonight, the Bulls now sit in sole position of the second seed in the East, only one game back from the Miami Heat. So what's going on, everyone? You were listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Now, like I said, I figured fatigue would be a bit of a factor in tonight's game, because not only was this the second game of a back-to-back, but it was also the Bulls' 7th game in 10 nights, which is insane. Thanks, NBA. But look, the energy to start this game was pretty non-existent. Like, OKC came out hustling, playing hard defense, rebounding the ball well, and the Bulls looked like they were going to be, yet again, playing down to their competition. And to be honest, I think this is a lot about Javonte Green's impact on the game. I talked about it in last night's post-game video. And it wasn't just the fact that he had a career high of 23 points in that game, but rather the energy level and shift in momentum of what happens when he's on the court versus when he's off, and that it's so noticeable. And for him to be out tonight and to see the kind of lackluster performance from the Bulls says more about Javonte Green than it really does about the Bulls just being tired and playing in a back-to-back. Obviously, it goes without saying that missing Zach is a huge piece of that as well, because you need Zach Lavine scoring in a game like this, but strictly speaking about the team's energy level, that has a lot to do with the absence of Javonte Green. Now, don't get me wrong though, there was high effort and energy for portions of the game, especially when the Bulls went on that run in the third quarter where they finally took their first lead. You had Ayo dropping dimes to Vucevic for some monster dunks, which really got the crowd going. And even despite this being not the best performance from the Bulls that we've seen so far this season, there were a lot of aspects about the game that were great to see. Most notably, your two star players, when you're without Lavine, did what they needed to do and showed up well on offense. And you kind of always expect that from DeRozan, but with Vucevic, just because he's had issues with consistency, and even at times when the Bulls need him most, when other guys have been out, he kind of goes MIA, like in that game against Orlando when the Bulls were without Lavine and Javonte Green. But Vucevic has really started playing consistently well ever since that game against the Magic, in which the Bulls lost. Tonight, you saw some incredible footwork from him in the paint to get some easy hook shots over smaller Thunder front court. He was hitting some mid-range jumpers. He was getting it done on the offensive glass for some putbacks and second chance points for the Bulls. And of course, he had that throw down dunk off of the feed from Ayo that got me off of my seat. Vucevic finished the game with 31 points on 14 for 25 shooting. Struggled from outside though, was 0 for 4 from 3, which is kind of why I've been harping so much on the fact that the Bulls just need to continue going inside to him. But either way, Vucevic also had 15 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks to go along with his 31 points. That's the other thing I'll say about Vucevic. For a guy who has never really been known to be a rim protector, these past few weeks, he's been looking like a solid rim protector with the way that he's been denying guys going up for layups. Not saying that he's a great rim protector by any means, but in the past few games, he's been solid. And then DeMar DeRozan. Another 35-plus point game for him. That is the 5th straight game for him doing so, which is the most any player in Bulls history has been able to do since Michael Jordan in 1996. The fact that he surpassed even Michael Jordan doing that in 97 or 98 alone is impressive, and not only that, but he continues to get it done in the fourth quarter when the Bulls need it most. He wasn't as efficient as he was in last night's game in the fourth, but he hit some big mid-range shots down the stretch that sealed the deal for the Bulls, and he finished the game with 38 points on 12 for 24 shooting, 14 for 16 from the line, 6 rebounds and 5 assists. The guy is making a case for himself yet again as an MVP candidate. I doubt he's going to get it over guys like Joel Embiid or Giannis, but his name should be right up there with them for what he's been able to do in making this team one of the best in the Eastern Conference and giving it his all every night. Coby White got the start in place of Lavine tonight, and Coby, although struggled a little, at least in the first half anyway, with his shooting, he ended up hitting some big threes in the fourth quarter to give the Bulls enough separation. And as I talked about in last night's postgame, it's just kind of, that's the production that we need from Coby in being that scoring spark for the Bulls, who can hit those shots from outside, but also be a threat and driving quickly to the hoop off screens. Coby was also very active tonight on the boards. Like, aside from his 16 points, he had 9 rebounds and 5 assists, and he also only had 1 turnover. So overall, a good game from Coby. Dosunmu again continues to show well in that point guard role while we wait for Lonzo Ball to return. Like, I'm really curious where the Bulls would be without Io right now, with Lonzo missing all the time that he has, because he stepped up and filled that role of being the team's floor general so nicely. And also the chemistry between him and Vucevic in the pick and roll has been phenomenal. Io tonight, nearly another triple-double. He had 12 points on 5 for 8 shooting, 9 assists and 8 rebounds. Now, Troy Brown Jr., he got the start to replace the injured Javonte Green. Didn't have a single point in 28 minutes of play, was 0 for 9 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. Have to say I was pretty surprised that Billy Donovan went with him to close out the game given how he was playing, and as annoyed as I was about Troy Brown Jr. throughout this one, the dude snagged 11 rebounds and got the most critical one being that final offensive rebound after the Bulls missed with around 10 seconds left to go when they were only up 3 points. That rebound really did seal the deal for them. But still, Troy, gotta hit your shots, man. 0 for 9 is unacceptable, especially against one of the worst teams in the NBA. Now, what was great about today was the fact that hours before it, we did receive the surprise that Derrick Jones Jr. would be returning much earlier than was initially anticipated. Like, he was scheduled to be on the same timeline for return as guys like Lonzo and Caruso in sort of the mid-March timeframe. He gets cleared to play, and although he's not quite up to form, given he's missed so much time, his impact was immediately felt, especially in the fourth quarter, in playing those clutch minutes, and he ended the game plus 13 in blocks plus minus, which was a team high. I will say, though, Derrick Jones Jr. basically wincing and clutching his hand on what seemed like every possession was definitely concerning, and you hope that he wasn't brought back a little prematurely. Shortly after the game, though, in his post-game interview, he did say he was experiencing pain whenever his splinted finger gets hit, but that he plans to play through it because he hates missing games and can tolerate the pain. Hey, I love the fight this guy has in him, but obviously you want him to be healthy for the playoffs. He's another one of these energy guys that the Bulls are really going to need in closing out the season. Anyway, overall for the Bulls in this game, I mean, shooting was pretty subpar. 3-point shooting in particular was kind of putrid, shooting 7 for 25 from 3. The Bulls did crash the boards really well, though. Outstanding rebounding. They out-rebounded the Thunder 57 to 43. Assist numbers were down, though, only 20 tonight, but again, some of that can be attributed to the poor shooting. Give the Thunder credit, though. They did play really hard for being without their star player, and I've continued to be really impressed with their rookie Josh Giddey, who had a triple-double tonight. He's going to be a great player in this league, based on what we're seeing from him right now, being only 19 years old. But either way, despite the Thunder's strong effort, the Bulls got the best of them and closed out the game with a win. The Bulls are off tomorrow, and then we'll take on the Spurs on Monday. I'll have my weekly preview video out on Monday morning, so be on the lookout for that. Have a great Saturday night, guys. Stay safe out there. And as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.